life. Rabbi Chaim Moshe Elishar, who lived between the years 1845 to the 10th of January 1924, the 4th of Shvat was his Hilula. He was the 35th Rishon LeZion, chief rabbi of Jerusalem. He would have about a 2-3 year tenure between the years 1919 to 1921. It was famous rabbinic dynasty of the Elishar family, respectively, and one of the great rabbis of Jerusalem, and also the son of another Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elishar. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born in the holy city, capital city of Israel, Jerusalem, to the Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elishar, very great rabbi of his time. He was himself the Rishon LeZion, chief rabbi, I believe, between the years 1893 to 1906, for quite a long tenure of about 13-14 years. Now, he would go on to learn inside Talmud Torah over there, and was seen as an excellent student over there, outstanding qualities. He would learn Torah under the auspices also of his father, and also through Rabbi Yosef Borla, another great rabbi, who was, I think, appointed a chief rabbi, part of the court of the rabbis, respectively. He was Abbet Din, if I'm not mistaken, he was the head of Jewish court over there, respectively. Now, he was about 40 years of age. He would get married to his wife, Vida, I believe. She happened to also be the daughter of another Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Raphael Meir Panizel, very prominent. So you could see he was imbued within regards to chief rabbi in every corner of his life, even while during his teenage years. He would go on to work in commerce for early years of his marriage, and he didn't want to necessarily take a living off the rabbinate. And at the same time, he would study intensely Torah. He became famous for the greatness of the Torah and his modesty. And he was very famous in Israel and garnered a great reputation abroad. Especially many different halachic questions were actually sent to him. Especially, he was fluent also in several languages, including in Arabic and Turkish. Now, I think come the year 1893, there'll be the appointment of his father, Rabbi Chaim Moshe Elishar, as the chief rabbi of Jerusalem, a very prominent position, and this obviously will bring a lot of prestige. At the same time, he'll be able to see the brilliance of his father inside this position, which was obviously very integral to him. And later on, obviously, we see he will become a chief rabbi himself. There was, I think he was representative. He had a high part of the regional council, and there was various religious leaders will sit. I think the chief rabbi himself, Rabbi Elisha, would be 13 years, let's just say, the chief rabbi, his father, of the land. He would be responsible, I think, in providing food for soldiers, especially of the Turkish Empire in the land. He would also go on to become one of the founders or an activist, let's say, of public institutions in Jerusalem, including the famous Shaarei Tzedek Hospital, which I think was opened in the year 1902, if I'm not mistaken, but he was very much an integral part within regards to that. And Miskav Ledach, another hospital we've spoken about on various occasions before, I think, which is part of the Miyuchedet Health Fund. I think it's actually based in the Katamon neighborhood in Jerusalem. He would head the chief rabbinate in Jerusalem for many years, even before the rabbinate's office was founded, and would also help in regards to supporting the assembly of the elected. After his father passed away, I think in the year 1906, there was, at that stage in time, positions for the chief rabbinate, where Rabbi Yaakov Meir, I believe, would take this place. Rabbi Yaakov Meir, I think, would have two different stints as the chief rabbi of Israel. Rabbi Yaakov Meir is another rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. One stage, Rabbi Yaakov Meir, I think, under the first leadership, would actually resign, and this position would rotate under several rabbis, if I'm not mistaken. And I think there was different factions within regards to Sephardic and Ashkenazic communities, and all throughout the Ottoman Empire at that point in time. And I think the year 1918, the Rabbinical Committee of Jerusalem was founded, which would unite the great Ashkenazi and Sephardi rabbis under one roof, respectively. And at that stage in time, I think it would be Rabbi Yitzchak Yerucham Diskin would maybe represent Ashkenazi, community, respectively. Rabbi Elisha was very much appointed as a president also of the committee of the Sephardi community. Also, at that same time, also there will be another rabbi, Rabbi Yisrael Porat, who was famous Talmid of Rav Kook, which you have to point out. And this was a committee which wouldn't last for long, and Rabbi Elisha would serve as the president. And I think this office itself was a basis for the establishment of the chief rabbinate of Israel. Now, between the years 1919 to 1921, around a 2-ish year period, he would serve as an official Rishon Lezion and the head of the Sephardic community in Jerusalem. And very, very prominent position. And there was a specific time work, a framework with regards to chief rabbinate. Eventually, Rabbi Yaakov Meir will take the premiership again, I believe, after he left. Now, I believe he passed away on the 4th of Shvat, it is reported over. This was, I believe, 4th of Shvat in the Hebrew, Yehet Afresh, Pei Dalet, so that would have naturally been, I think, around the 1924 period, about 101 years ago, here from the time of recording. Now, he was buried in the rabbinical plot in the Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives burial place, and there was a great family, or the Elisha family, who we've spoken about on various occasions before. We've actually dedicated various videos with regards to some of the rabbis and famous personalities, just say, in the community. Now, among, I believe it's reported over, he would leave 6 sons, 6, including Yosef Shaul, who we've spoken about before. He would go on also to become a famous businessman, a rabbi, a president of the Sephardic community, one of the founders of Zichron Moshe neighborhood also, and purchased a lot of lands in Jerusalem. Another one of his sons was Yitzchak Shemaiah Elishar, a famous Jerusalem public figure and a delegate, I think it was city council, very prominent positions. He would also have 3 daughters, it was reported over. Let's explore some of the books that he left us, a great rabbi, including Sha'al Ha'ish Panei Chama. This was a Shelot Shuvot, question answers book of his father, which would be printed in Jerusalem in the year Het Hafresh Samach Tet, respectively. Then the Moshe Ha'ish, this was once again another Shelot Shuvot, question and answers. This was printed in the year 1921 in the capital city of Jerusalem. There was other manuscripts, I think, that was actually left at various occasions of time, but he was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 35th Rishon Lecion, which was a very prominent position. We've already dedicated a few videos within regards to history, let's just say, of the Rishon Lecion, let's say, mantelpiece, this great position itself, which we have to point out. We've spoken about various great rabbis from the community at that point in time. His mother's name was Rabbanit Miriam. He would get married, as I said before, to his wife, Rabbanit Vida Leah, which we've spoken about before. Among his brothers included Eliezer Yerucham Hasheni and Rav Nisim Ben Yamin. His sister was Sultana Bechora. His grandfather, I think on his father's side, was Rabbi Eliezer Yerucham. And among his teachers included, as we said before, Rabbi Yosef Borla, and obviously his father, Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elishar, who was a great rabbi of his time, which I recommend everyone to look more within regards about, because especially go back towards videos we covered within regards to famous Rishon Lezions. He obviously had a huge encompassment of help within regards to various different activities. Now, I think his book, the Moshe Ha'ish, was printed in Jerusalem, 1921. It will contain 348 pages. If you, in fact, go on the HebrewBooks.org website, you will actually be able to see some of the pages, or possibly all the pages within regards to it. It was a Shvot, connected, I think, very much with Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, respectively, which I recommend everyone also to look into it. And you see the greatness, the rabbinic connections he had was absolutely second to none. Without that, we have to point that out. Let's explore a few of the teachings from his books also, from his book, the Moshe Ha'ish. I think, especially in Kuf Ein Chet, he teaches Melamed, Ofanim, Le'eteh Nisiyah B'Yom Tov, Kedei She'elech Lebeit Knesset. It's just one of the teachings he would get. Melamed, Shechayav La'alvato, Ach im ochal imcha patu hu meleshalem. This was once again taken from the Moshe Ha'ish, I think from Kuf Pei Dalet, that specific page itself. And one last teaching, Melamed, Sheva Chatzdaka, Shlemet Tzidkatleha, Yesada Yeshiva B'Har Tzion. Talking about Har Tzion over here, the mountain of Tzion, featured very much on page 184, Amud Aleph, if I'm not mistaken, from the great book, I think, which was obviously printed, as we said before, in Jerusalem. So he was a great rabbi of his time. I'd recommend everyone to actually learn more about the famous Rishon Lezion, the famous chief rabbi, and his position would be taken over by Yaakov Meir. He actually himself took over from Rabbi Nisim Yehuda Danon, who was before him as the chief rabbi, was also another very famous rabbi of his time. Rabbi Danon, I believe, would work as a chief rabbi of Jerusalem. He was the 34th chief rabbi, if I'm not mistaken, and he himself had other important roles inside Greece, I think in Rhodos, and also in Izmir in Turkey, respectively. And so you can see this mantelpiece, this important position, was very, very crucial all throughout Jewish history. So friends, wishing you well. We're a community here. We're learning about the famous rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the rabbis we are speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more. If you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos to other people also, and let us help grow the community now from strength to strength, making fantastic progress. Wishing all Shavuot Tov, and take care, and thank you for watching.